Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. You know that anxious, all consuming sensation of just completely losing yourself in a relationship? It's like their mood instantly becomes your mood, their crisis, suddenly it's your crisis. It kind of masquerades as this deep devotion, right? But today we're going to explore the actual biological reality of this dynamic. It's called enmeshment. And honestly, understanding the clinical research we're unpacking today might literally be the most absolutely crucial step you can take for your emotional health and the longevity of your partnerships. And I love where the source material starts with this because it's incredibly validating. If you've ever been told you're too much or too needy, listen to this. The research shows you are not broken, you're not weak. What we're actually looking at is someone whose attachment system learned, usually way back in childhood, that completely merging with another person was the absolute only way to stay safe. Your nervous system is brilliantly adapted. It did exactly what it needed to do to keep you alive and secure. Section one, not broken, just adapted. We're looking at the biological roots of relationship fusion. So, to really grasp the biology here, the research points out something fascinating. A human infant is pretty much the most helpless creature on the planet. To survive, a kid has to become hypervigilant to their caregiver's emotional state. That survival strategy, totally intelligent. But what works perfectly at 5 years old to keep you safe becomes entirely suffocating at 35 in a romantic partnership. Psychologist Murray Bowen famously called this an undifferentiated family ego mass. Wow, quite a mouthful, right? But the concept in the text is devastatingly simple. Basically, there is no I inside the we. When you're enmeshed, you just cannot tolerate another person's emotional state without fully absorbing it as your own. Like if your partner is disappointed in themselves, you literally experience that as a direct accusation against you. That boundary between where you end and they begin, poof, completely erased. Moving on to section two, the 7 signs of enmeshment. This is when closeness becomes an invisible architecture. Let's see how this actually builds into our adult lives. Take this super common everyday question: what do you want for dinner? We've all had that infamous, I don't know, what do you want debate. Well, in a healthy relationship, that's just asking for a preference. But the sources note that if this question completely paralyzes you because you're absolutely terrified your answer won't perfectly match your partner's, you're experiencing enmeshment. You genuinely can't even access your own preferences. The signal for your own desires has basically gone dark because locating your own needs feels like a literal threat to the relationship. Crazy, right? Enmeshment is so incredibly tricky because it flies completely under the radar, totally disguised as profound intimacy. But looking at these 7 critical signs, you really see what it looks like when your internal experience is hijacked. When your partner is stressed, you don't just empathize, you become stressed. Their sadness, that feels like your personal failure. You might even slowly abandon your friends and hobbies because just being separate causes unbearable anxiety. Any disagreement feels like a massive crack in the foundation, signaling utter abandonment. You need contact, not even to communicate, but just as an emotional oxygen supply. And finally, criticism from your partner doesn't just sting, it feels like a total assassination of your very identity because when there's no boundary between self and other, an attack on your behavior is an attack on your existence. Okay. Section 3, clarifying the pop psychology buzzwords. Let's look at biology versus social media therapy. The source material makes a really crucial point here. We have got to stop weaponizing clinical terms to shame people for their deep attachment needs. Social media loves slapping labels on people who are simply running deeply intelligent survival adaptations. The research makes this brilliant distinction that so often gets lost online. Enmeshment and codependency, they overlap, but they are absolutely not the same thing. Enmeshment is the structural murkiness of the relationship. It's the architecture, the physical absence of boundaries. Codependency, on the flip side, is the behavioral response. It's what the enmeshed person actually does. Codependency is organizing your entire existence around managing your partner's emotions, all because that enmeshed structure makes you feel like you absolutely have to in order to survive. To really cement this idea, the text offers this fantastic metaphor. Think of enmeshment like two individual keys that have been totally melted down and forged into a single key. Sure, it might feel secure in the short term because it's simple, but man, it makes the entire system so incredibly fragile. If that one fused key breaks, everything is lost. Contrast that with healthy closeness, or what we call a sovereign us. This functions way more like a multi-signature crypto wallet. You've got your key, your partner has their key, and together you unlock a value that neither of you could access alone. Both partners maintain their individual sovereignty, and neither key gets consumed in the process. Such a game changer of an idea. Up next, section 4, the competing family attachment. This is what happens when your partner is married to their mother. This brings us to a really hard truth from the research, and honestly, one of the most destructive and hidden dynamics in couples therapy. It's family enmeshment. This happens when an adult fails to shift their primary attachment from a parent, often a mother, over to their spouse. To the enmeshed partner, it just feels like, hey, I'm just close to my family. But to their spouse, it feels like competing with a ghost. So why is this so destructive? Well, the human nervous system literally requires biological exclusivity of priority. Now, it's not about exclusivity of love. You can absolutely love your parents deeply, but your spouse's nervous system needs this bone-deep certainty that they are your definitive priority when it matters most. When a parent remains the very first person you call in a crisis, you're creating a competing attachment, and that completely shatters the bedrock of security your partner needs to actually feel safe. Bringing us to section 5, the path to sovereignty, healing through connection, not distance. So if you're recognizing these patterns in yourself or your relationship right now, take a breath. The sources note the path out is probably not what you might think. It is absolutely not about building walls, pulling away, or adopting what some call orphan sovereignty, which, let's be real, is usually just avoidance dressed up in spiritual clothing. You don't cure fusion with distance. You heal through the sustained practice of co-regulation within a safe relationship. The research outlines this fascinating 4-step framework for getting there. Step 1. Recognize the survival adaptation for exactly what it is without a single ounce of moral judgment. Step 2, build a reliable, safe container. An enmeshed partner can only risk being separate when their partner's nervous system consistently signals, hey, I'm not going anywhere. Step 3 is practicing differentiation in real time. That means noticing the urge to absorb your partner's sadness and choosing instead to stay present with your own feelings while just sitting next to theirs. And finally, step 4, establishing the sovereign us, that beautiful state of courageous interdependence. I want to leave you with this final, truly empowering thought from our sources. The impulse underneath enmeshment, that deep desire to be profoundly connected to another human being, is beautiful. It's something to be honored, but it needs an update. True love allows you to show up as a complete sovereign person and still be chosen. It's all about moving from a fear-based fusion to a courageous interdependence. So, looking at your own relationships today, are you standing tall inside your love, or have you completely dissolved into it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep on learning. If you want to work on this for real, try Figlet, my AI relationship coaching app. You can start for free, no credit card needed, at figlet.empathy.com.